Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to another episode of An Anthropologist Watches TLC. And we are watching Sister Wives, the episode where the anthropologists come in. A third time I've done this introduction because I've already done 2 other episodes. I talk too much, so this is a 3-part thing of me watching one show. Thank you for sticking with it. I appreciate that. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope I'm answering some questions about anthropology and just stuff in general. I hope I'm not confusing people. Let me know in the comments if I am. I am an anthropologist by training. I am an archaeologist, retired, and that's it. I've also explained myself in the last 2 episodes, so just for my sake, if you're interested or want to know more, just go ahead and watch specifically the first one. So that being said, thank you to everybody who has been watching this and who supports the channel. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you to my subscribers. You guys rock. Thank you to my members. You guys are amazing. And yeah, I just really want to jump into this and finish it up. We've got roughly 10 minutes of it left. So, you know, another hour's worth of talking for me. But I can't speed it up. So that's why we're watching it in real time. I'm enjoying this. I really am. I think this is a great episode, specifically for anthropology. I don't know for the family. It's literally the only one I've ever watched. So I'm enjoying it. Cody's a goofball. I couldn't be friends with Cody, but he's a goofball. I can appreciate him from a distance. The wives are very interesting to me. I've done some research on Reddit about this episode, and of course you get tidbits here and there. So, I mean, I know a little bit about the family in general and like the individual wives. I couldn't tell you which one of them is what if they didn't tell me their names down below, but I am enjoying the 2 anthropology PhD students. I thought they were master students. They're not. They're PhD students. This is their thesis, part of their thesis. I would really like to see the finished thesis, and I might give a shot looking it up because I know what college they went to. They've been putting their names up, so I should be able to find it. If I can get access to it's another story, but I should be able to find it. So I'm just interested in seeing that, and I might do an episode of that. What else did I want to say before we get started? No, really, I'm enjoying this. I hope you guys are enjoying it. And yeah, so this is going to be the final wrap-up part. I probably will talk a lot more here again. The middle was interesting because one of the daughters is converting to Mormonism. The family, the adults in the family seemed kind of concerned about it. The 3 eldest children, I'm guessing, didn't really seem that bothered by it, which tells me that the family is pretty religiously liberal, which is unusual for a group like this, in my opinion. But it's good to see, actually. The kids all seem to be capable of joking around with the adults. They don't seem to be afraid of the adults. And the wives seem to be able to kind of put Cody in his place here and there. So, I mean, I kind of like the group in general. They seem to be a very likable group. I know shit happens down the road, so there's that. But it's kind of fun watching them. Anyway, let's get back into it.
Hey, yeah, well, I got this. Thanks, security. I'm their dad.
I thought, is the security cop going to take over? Is he going to take charge? What's going to happen to Garrison?
How bad was it that was the security guard just like there, and so he was just like, my time has come? Or did somebody like call him? Like, how bad was this fight? And did the other children circle around their brothers and start going, fight, fight, fight? This is something I need to know. Was this a schoolyard brawl because you have enough children to put in an entire school?
No, I was very concerned.
You just need to stop me from beating both of them.
I wouldn't say that out loud to a cop. Putting that out there, my dude.
If I ever see that again, you 2 are done with your lives. I'm just...
Alright. Okay, now, obviously he's being hyperbolic. Because it's Cody. I don't see him swatting a fly, let alone swatting his kids. So, how serious are his kids taking this moment? Like, are they more afraid that dad's yelling at them, or are they more afraid that mom's gonna put the band hammer down and they're really gonna be in trouble? Like, which one of these parents are they actually going to be concerned about getting disciplined by? Like, are they just kind of writing Cody off because, oh, it's Cody being Cody, or is he really that intimidating? Because I just don't see that. But mom, if mom poked her head in and was like, I am going to end you, I think they would both be pretty scared at that moment. That just seems to be the dynamic here. I also don't see mom threatening to end them. I see mom going, I can't believe you did that in public. Do you know how embarrassed I am? And watching both of them just kind of shrivel up, because that's what moms do.
Ending it.
Sorry, I hopped in and then I was going to hop out.
No, you were not.
Yes, I was.
You were not.
I did not.
Listen, this is not for discussion. You stop talking
Okay, yeah, definitely mom is the disciplinarian here and Cody's just showing off.
now.
We normally handle our fights just brawl it out, then smooth sailing till the next one.
Kate.
He's so mad. He's like, I still want to end you. I do not care that we are related by blood. You are still my arch nemesis, and you're lucky the camera is watching. Siblings.
So uncool.
He's already stopped.
I am seriously about not letting you go to Hawaii. It's unbelievable.
There was something that had been boiling and something that needed attention to be paid to it. And this is how it erupted in this physical altercation in the parking lot.
It's kind of like somebody being over at your house and opening up that closet where you shoved all the dirty dishes when they were walking in the door. I mean, it's that they see, this is them seeing probably the very worst, in my opinion, one of the very worst things that they could see this weekend.
I mean, I get that the family's overreacting. I get that the family is reacting in a embarrassed way towards the situation, because I'm sure it was I'm sure for them it is embarrassing. You have 17 kids, something like that, 16, 17 kids, and obviously they're older kids. Like these are obviously mid to late teenage boys. You will not convince me that you will never convince me if you had a brother growing up, male or female, or even your sister. Oh my God, girls, when we fight. That's my point though. Siblings fight, and they fight dirty sometimes. So the fact that the two boys were scuffling, I mean, yeah, no, you don't want your kids to do that. And yeah, you should step in and be like, hey, don't do that. This is why, that kind of a thing. But it's just trust me, the anthropologists are not, this isn't anything. Trust me. But for them, it is. I think it's funny.
Again, something that I would prefer that they knew me a little better before they see my kids behaving so badly.
I understand that. I really do.
What the anthropology students think at this point.
And that's why I think he was acting. I don't think that's how Cody disciplines his kids at all. There's the little girl.
My sole focus here is on Garrison and Gabriel. I find
it interesting that they did invite the anthropologists to watch them talk with the daughter who's looking at leaving the family church, but they don't want the anthropologists to watch them discipline their two children, their two sons specifically. And I also think it's interesting that with the two boys being disciplined, it's just Janelle and Cody and not all four moms and Cody. So I find that interesting as well, that there's this difference of a dynamic. I feel like the conversation is probably just as difficult. That's my personal opinion on the matter. And also, again, they don't want the anthropologists present, but the camera is, they don't seem to have a problem having TLC present during this. The disconnect, I do think there's an actual disconnect happening here. I think they've become so accustomed to the TLC people that they don't view them as an outsider anymore, where they're still viewing, obviously, the anthropologists as outsiders, which is fine. I mean, that's what's going to happen. But they're perfectly comfortable letting themselves be filmed disciplining their children, knowing that that's going to go out on national television. But the two researchers who are going to write a paper that's probably not going to go much further than their own college, they're the ones that they want to keep this hidden from. That's an interesting twist, in my opinion.
have you arguing or disagreeing with him or making any comments while I ask him what happened. It'll cost you privileges. I am judge and jury here, boy. In our family, I do the real course correction stuff.
Do you?
But I don't do the daily discipline.
Okay, so that confirmed what I was already thinking, but it also means that probably when he steps in and becomes Dad, I don't think the kids are probably going to take him that seriously. Maybe the younger ones do, but it doesn't look like the older boys are really that fazed. I still don't understand why when I believe that was Janelle's daughter, when Janelle's daughter was talking about leaving the family church, it was okay for everybody to be present, but now when we're disciplining the two boys, it's just Janelle and the dad. I mean, outside I understand. These are Janelle's boys. She probably doesn't want input from everybody else, but as a family dynamic, it's interesting to me that they show this unity around the daughter, especially since at the end they're all like, oh yeah, no, we're totally supportive. Oh yeah, support. But now that it's a disciplinary thing, now they don't want to show that family. They don't want that family dynamic. You know, I don't know. It's interesting to me.
I ask for one thing in this family. What do I ask for? For you guys to just respect.
I ask for one thing in this family. What is that thing I ask for? I don't know. You ask for shit? Who are you again? That would have been amazing. Who are you?
Each other's space. If I can't get them...
That was my other question. Why don't they have the other two boys in there? There were clearly two witnesses at least.
To collaborate their story to where it's believable for me, then I'm going to get somebody else involved. I'm very upset that this happened. I'm also very embarrassed Richard and Antoinette have had to see this as well. I'm just, you know, it's one thing when your family sees it.
You know, Cody, I think that
they're still concerned about being judged. And I mean, I've continuously stated, I understand why the family feels that way. And it's just a shame that they do feel like, well, I get that they're embarrassed too. I do, I really do. But I feel bad for them that they feel like the anthropologists were there to judge them. And I feel bad for them that they think that this action by their kids is going to cause the anthropologists to judge them harshly, when in reality, that's not what they're there for, and that shouldn't be what they're there for. That's just not how it's supposed to work. Actually witnessing that, and witnessing the family handle this situation is what the anthropologists want to see. They want to see the family dynamic. They want to see how the family works. They're not there to judge one way or the other if the family's functional or not. That's not the goal. That wasn't the goal to begin with. None of the research questions at the beginning of the episode led me to believe that that was even part of it. Richard's very interested in how Cody works, and Antoinette was very interested in how the wives worked. And that's it. They're not there to make judgment calls, and they didn't sound like they were going to make judgment calls. Maybe in their heads they're making judgment calls, possibly. But they won't be putting any of that in their papers, and they probably won't even be putting them in their notes. They'll be like, yeah, the two boys had it out. And like Antoinette said, this is clearly the accumulation of something that's been boiling for a while. They're teenage boys. You know, I am knocking teenage boys, but also teenage girls will do this shit too. You just fight with your siblings. It's just what happens.
You've now seen us at our very best and probably our very worst now. So I need to be braced that they may find fault with what we do.
Next week on Sister Wives.
I read the other day about the early years with you and Mary and how tough things.
Oh my God, there's more than one episode? Oh my God. I thought it was just one episode. But we will be watching episode 15. Sorry. Or at least until the anthropologists leave. We'll be watching until the anthropologists leave. So, actually, I'm going to pause recording right now and I'll be right back. I'm refreshed. We are back. I've found the episode. I had to do a little digging, but we're going to keep watching until the anthropologists leave. I don't know how long that's going to take. We are on episode 16 of season 5 now. So
Past 2 days, we've had anthropology students from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, who have been staying with us. So I think it's going good. We just had a great day with the family. We just came home from a movie. But at the end of the movie, Gabriel and Garrison had to get into a fist fight.
If I ever see that again, you two are done with your lives.
And I had to handle it like a pro.
When we got home, we basically sat down to hear the story. So I asked Garrison to tell me what was going on.
He opened up the door and reached around and slapped me.
And Gabriel's turning around and saying, I never hit him. I didn't do that. You believe that Gabe is lying?
Yes.
If I can't get them to collaborate their story, then I'm going to get somebody else involved. The scary thing is before I even started in on this, I knew pretty strongly that I was going to tell Garrison that he was not going on the ROTC trip to Hawaii.
A huge blow for Garrison to lose this trip. So I'm glad that we're going to bring the other boys in.
Peyton, before this...
I'm so confused about the language that they use when they're on the couch, because it sounds like everything. Like, what is this? How does this work? Like, there's no way in hell they interviewed them right before this happened. Maybe they did. I guess. I don't know. I'm so confused. So confused.
Altercation started between those
Hayden?
two. Did you see what happened?
Yeah, Gabe going from the front. Jenna said Gabe to get in front. Garrison gets in the front. So Gabe smacks him on the head, and he has to happen.
You saw Gabriel hit him?
Yes.
You
He
did.
did this. Reached in, smacked him.
You saw Gabriel
I
do
saw
that.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm so sorry. Look at Gabriel. He's like, shit, man, no. Why are you doing this to me, man? It's funny. He seems to be the only one that kind of gets it.
Tomorrow, we're going to have pretty much free reign to the adults with the children being in school. I want to see how Cody really is dealing with this disciplinary thing with his son.
You can't see it, so no
I
worries.
really want to see what that whole punishment was and what his thinking was behind it. So what questions are you concerned about that they're just not going to want to answer?
I don't think that I'm going to get to talk about that real connective, romantic intimacy that may or may not exist between each of the partners. And I'm wondering, to be frank, you know, what's their sex life like? I really want to know, how do you connect intimately with your husband? And I really want to know, how does jealousy play out in your intimate relationship with Cody, knowing that he's also intimate with other wives?
I think you'll find one or two of them to open up to you about that. I really do. I think so. Well, tomorrow will be interesting.
I think this was very scripted and was not at all natural. I wondered if they would do school days, because neither of them really seem particularly interested in like the child's dynamic. They just seem to be more focused on the adults, so this is probably really good for them because they're going to be able to like ask the questions they feel like would be really awkward to ask with a bunch of kids in the room.
I'm thrilled to have my mom live with me, and having her just be a grandma living with me again is really awesome.
Annie, you left the group at large. Is that the way to say it?
I didn't leave polygamy. I left religion.
How was your marriage prior to that decision?
Their dad is a really, really good man. Was it a real in-love, infatuation type marriage?
That's
no,
interesting.
It wasn't. The marriage wasn't as hard to walk away from as the religion was. We had already been falling out for a while.
Annie having to sit there and self-reflect on that, it was nice because it was just another example of how this family has to deal with divorce, even though they are a plural family.
I felt incredibly honored that Annie was willing to open up so vulnerably and to share with us.
So you had essentially just chosen to leave the principled life, and then Christine said, I'm getting married. I'm going to be a third wife.
After Mom left, I really studied a lot and really thought, you know, is this something that I really want to do? I didn't want to make the same choice of having a family and then leaving it. And so I really wanted to make sure I had a solid testimony and a belief in living plural marriage.
And what was it like for you to reestablish yourself after having made the decision to leave the religion?
You can't even imagine what it's like to start over again. Every day was just terrifying because I didn't know anything. I grew up very, very sheltered.
The community that I was raised in taught fear. We were so afraid as a community that people from the outside, if they found out that we were living plural marriage, then they would call the authorities, and the authorities would come in and break up our family. So I didn't trust people from the outside world.
You were experiencing a lot in that time, not just from leaving the church, but being separated from Christine. How long your sense of self and okayness was able to come back?
No.
Between her and doing the cycles with all of the kids, not just her, 15 years.
Because she had left and broke the trust of me when I was a little kid, it was difficult to learn how to trust her again.
There was never ever a point in time where I ever would have sabotaged the kids against their dad during the divorce or against the religion because some of them chose to stay. There was never ever any, because it was never part of my belief system to do that. I was okay with Christine marrying Cody because it was her choice. And there was never a point in time when I was unsafe.
Yeah, and I perceived her to be unsafe.
Another reason why it's really, really nice to be here. I really appreciate every day because I had so many years without it. And now I have it and I cherish it. I cherish it.
You'll notice that the anthropologists aren't saying anything. They're not saying anything positive. They're not saying anything negative. They're just there to listen. They want to hear the answer to their question. They'll have some follow-up questions. Obviously, Antoinette's been asking a few questions. Richard's probably asked a few himself. But the goal is not to... we're not therapists, I guess. Like, the follow-up question, if you were a therapist, would be, you're not unclean, you're not unsafe. That's what a therapist does. The anthropologist goes, huh. And then we leave it at that. It's not... We might ask, like, why did they think you were unclean? How did they reinforce that idea? If she's willing to talk about that, of course. Like, obviously this is emotional for her, and you're not just gonna, like, go in there and prosecute like a prosecutor and just drill. But, if they're willing to stay open and continue to communicate with you about a topic, you're gonna ask, like, why did that happen? How was it reinforced within the community? Like, she was separated from her daughter for like 15 years. She was saying, like, so why now is she allowed to come back? What's different now? Is she refining her faith? Those kind of things. Those are the questions you want to know. But regardless of what the answer is, the answer might lead to more questions, but you aren't really supposed to, you're not supposed to be sympathetic or judgmental. I know that sounds terrible, but you're not supposed to be one way or the other. If Annie at any point is like, I don't want to talk about this anymore, then it's fine and you're done. And I mean, if you feel so compelled to go give Annie a hug because you're receptive to it, or, you're not a heartless machine, that's fine. But that's not, at that point, you've stepped outside of the realm of anthropology, and now you're in the realm of, being a person again, not an observer. If that made sense.
How do you think that went?
I think that was pretty insightful. The whole conversation about divorce and reconciliation and the whole process they had to go through to come back together as a family, and that was really insightful.
Pretty intense.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. I was very uncomfortable.
Mary's house, and the bedroom that I stayed in had a number of bookshelves on it. So as soon as I settled in, that was the first thing that I looked at, and one of the first books that I saw was called Becoming Sister Wives book, and I started reading it the first night.
The book talks a lot about how there were a lot of struggles, especially when Janelle first came around. Have you been able to mend those bridges, not just with Janelle, but with Cody?
I think that Cody and I are working on it. Yeah, but not so much with Janelle.
Is it just raw feelings over this whole situation with you and Janelle?
We have had a lot of years where we have figured out how to function as a family, function as sister wives. We know what needs to be done for the family, needs to be done for the kids, and we know how to do that. Are we close? Like super close? No. but we know how to make it work for the family. Do we hate each other? No, we don't hate each other either, you know. I think what I wanted or expected from a sister wife when Janelle came in the family, I think I expected our relationship to be more emotionally open and just more compassionate with each other, and it just wasn't. It's not Janelle's fault and it's not my fault. It's a result of the people.
Okay, Cody's not a bad looking guy in these pictures. I get it. I really do. I get why he has 4 wives.
That we were at the time. I feel like it's too late to have any kind of relationship like that with Janelle. That time has passed with Janelle and I. You know, there's a lot of history with us, and I don't think we'll ever get that kind of relationship that I thought was possible. Robin is about to come home with Solomon. She actually just sent me this picture. Look at him. Isn't that cute? Yeah, it sounds like they're going to be here pretty soon, so I want to go over and see him and see how he's doing. But let's grab you some lunch and then we'll head over there.
That is a mom. I'm going to go do a thing, but before I go, I'm going to feed you. Thanks, Mom.
You want to say hi?
So this morning when we took Solomon into the surgery center, it was really tough because I kept asking them to give Solomon the little cup of medicine to kind of help him not remember and to kind of relax him, and they didn't give it to him until like 10 minutes before they decided to take him. And he saw that all of a sudden he's being taken away from us.
Yeah.
And he started screaming, no, no. He was freaking out and screaming. Maybe 5 minutes later, the doctor, she called me on the phone, and I was like,
Aren't you in surgery?
Aren't you in surgery? And she's like, I'm right here in the surgery room. He's asleep. He's okay. It went smoothly.
Don't you wish they would have given you the same drug?
Oh, man. I would have totally taken some. I'm like, can I have some of that? So I don't remember this.
Unfortunately, they won't do that.
To meet them.
Do you have any order in which you would like to be the wife?
If I am a first wife or if I'm a third or a fifth or whatever.
Third or a fifth?
I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out there.
I need to talk to you about multiplying wives.
I'm just throwing numbers out there.
Interesting. Go on.
Oh, and I am definitely playing poker tonight. Are you in?
I'm in, but I need a cheat sheet.
Now that last night is over, I do wish to play with you.
No, no.
Nice try, Gabriel.
The kid is relentless. You're grounded specifically because of this.
Yeah,
you have to suffer the consequences of your behavior. You betrayed the brotherhood. I'm just like, this is wrong.
Awesome.
I noticed that he has a lot of one-on-one time with Saul.
Cody does?
Yeah, Cody has a lot of one-on-one time with Saul. But I noticed that he doesn't have as much one-on-one time with the older kids.
The teenagers and stuff?
Well, I mean, not just the teenagers that are out and about, but like the middle school kids too.
He says, I have some kids that want a hug and a kiss and want to cuddle and talk, and some kids that don't. And he says, I try to do that with them, but they don't respond all the time. He wants to have relationships with each one of his children, but it's kind of like he can only push so much. So that's one of the things that I've noticed with him and his kids.
I'm a little concerned by the conclusion that Antoinette's come to, and maybe Richard's on it too, I don't know. But in this little snapshot of our life, yeah, Solomon and him have had, some one-on-one time, but that's because of his surgery, so.
I saw a lot of people commenting about this part in the Reddit threads that I was reading about how, and I'm guessing if you watch more of the episodes, it's more evident as well, but in these episodes, it hasn't, that, I wouldn't have picked up on that is what I'm saying. Like him taking the kid to the surgery and being concerned about his youngest son having surgery and, wanting to be there for the kid and help the kid back. I mean, I didn't see any of that being as abnormal, but Team Antoinette definitely picked up on it. It looks like Richard picked up on it as well. So there's obviously huge chunks that we're not seeing that have been edited. And I think it's interesting that the reply to that is not he doesn't have time, or yes, this is his favorite. He only likes the baby in the family. It's the other kids, they won't let him be his dad. They won't let him be more affectionate. They won't spend more time with him. I don't think that's how that works. The teenagers, yes, because at some point you stop being cool. But like the rest of the kids, you can't tell me they don't want to spend time with their dad. Like the one kid wanted to play poker. I don't necessarily think he wants to play poker because he's particularly loves poker. I mean, maybe he does. Maybe he's like a card shark. But I think he wanted specifically to play with his dad. I think maybe that's a way that they connect. I mean, I'm speculating. So also being grounded from that was definitely more of a punishment. I mean, it's definitely an effective punishment. He didn't want to participate in that punishment, clearly. But I think it's the loss of the time with the father more than it's really the loss of the time playing poker. You can play poker with anybody, right? I'm not seeing a lot of like...
I've had a long day.
I know this is 2005, but I'm not seeing a lot of like cell phones or computers inside the family. I don't know if that's a thing or if I'm just not seeing it. I mean, I'm sure you don't want to videotape a bunch of kids constantly on their phones.
Well, my game will be up today.
Do you want me to do the dealer?
I love having you be the dealer.
I'll be the dealer and then have Antoinette just like bombard you with questions, and then I can sit there. And
so Antoinette,
that's how I'm gonna weaken your game. Yeah. It's gonna ask you meaning of life questions.
And then when she wins, her and I are gonna split it.
Okay. All right. Hey everybody, so that I can win the poker, I got my poker chi on.
Oh my gosh, Cody, you're in my house. You don't get to wear that in my house.
She's just deadpan about it. You don't get to wear that in my house.
Bluffing is a good thing to do.
What does fold, raise, and call mean?
One of the things that was good for me today was that I actually got to spend a little bit of time with Cody.
It was being able to talk with him and start the poker game and be able to really kind of see him just relax and cut loose. And it's like, finally.
Either he's bluffing or he has something.
Either I'm bluffing or I have something.
Probably you're bluffing.
So some of the older kids can play poker?
Think it's a safe bet.
Cody
or she just
can't handle the heat. He's getting out of the kitchen.
Dang it! You're not bluffing. I should have gone higher, but I'm like,
I was thinking somebody had a flush. So the money goes to Christine.
Okay, there we go. So they're not Luddites. I didn't think they were. I just thought it was interesting that I hadn't seen any televisions, no laptops, no computers, no cell phones. And that's even in the kids' room, so clearly there's no restrictions on that. Or if there are, they're very limited.
Today is the last day that Richard and Antoinette are going to be here at our homes.
Mariah got here really late last night, and so this morning she finally gets to meet them.
She's a tall girl.
Nice to meet
you. Dang.
So I've just kind of changed my emphasis from pre-med to physician's assistant.
She was talking to me not too long ago, and she was saying, you know, Mom, I just got this realization that I needed to be a physician's assistant.
She is almost taller than Richard. Dang, girl. I hoped you play basketball because you would have dominated if you were good at basketball. Like, you have the height advantage. Now you also have to have, like, the ability to play said game as well. But you have the height advantage. No man will ever talk down to you.
Rather than a doctor, and a lot of the reason is just because of the hours that she would put into being a doctor.
Your father and your mothers are talking about the assets that individuals bring to the family. And there's also a possibility she'll make more money than the male that would be in the family. How do you think that would play out, that she's going to have this really independent career, one that might even be the one that brings the most bread into the family?
I mean, it's not like women are better. And if I do make more money than my husband, that doesn't make me better than him. I just think like the whole feminist idea is that men and women are equal.
Is there any part of that that would be challenging for the male provider
I've always said that even like with my husband, with like potential sister wives, before anyone gets married, I want it to be very clear like of what is going to happen.
You know, you find somebody who's, you know, passion for being in a plural marriage is to have this, it completes my manhood. I think that might be a serious problem financially.
Damn. Richard just like threw that out there. It completes my manhood. It just like looks directly at Cody.
I think that if it's going to be that big of an issue, then it's probably not the right.
There you go.
You know what? To be fair, be smart about who you marry, because you want to be glad you did 20 years from now. Mariah is our first child to ever have a testimony about living plural marriage. So I'm sitting here going, okay, sweetheart, I'm very concerned that you marry the right guy.
It's kind of like, be sure you know the guy. Don't be thinking you're marrying who you think he is.
I honestly think you need to know all. If you're entering into a plural family, you need to know that family.
Do you have any...
I mean, in theory, he's not wrong.
order in which you would like to be the wife?
I definitely don't think that I would gravitate toward any role based on timing. If I am a first wife or if I'm a third or a fifth or whatever.
Third or a fifth?
I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out
I
there.
need to talk to you about multiplying wives.
Dad. I'm just throwing numbers out there.
She's going to do it in twos.
Right. I don't like even numbers.
So for you, it would make total sense that you would have a longer courtship for the sake of really getting to know the other wives, really getting to know the husband.
There's a reason we perpetuate virtue in our lifestyle. And when I talk about that, what we're talking about is moral sexual chastity.
Would you push for Mariah to know somebody for a really long time, for a number of years, and then to have a shorter courtship?
Right, I would. This is my dogma. It's like, get to be 25, have some self-control, and have a courtship. Passion, romance.
You don't want your kids getting married until they're at least 25? I mean, cool, but that's just unusual. Especially in these sorts of situations. Or maybe it's just because she's the firstborn, you know? Maybe he's just like super protective of the firstborn. This girl, she is striking though.
Companionship. My point is, our relationships would have been better and stronger had we given our courtship more time.
Actually.
Wow. She's not happy about that one.
I wish that I had taken longer to get married.
She actually wishes that I would have come a year later.
Or two.
Cool.
I hate all of this so bad.
Why?
I always feel like he's just slamming how he came to be and slamming the fact that we didn't have a courtship and just slamming all of it all the time.
You don't understand though. I'm
just
sorry.
Saying if
No, honey, let me gaslight you a little bit.
we would have come to this point where time we would have had a better marriage.
I didn't mean for you to feel
I thought
that
we were
way.
fine.
What I want you to...
Yep, there you
Not
go.
recently. Good hell.
Wow. That's what we call putting your foot in your mouth. You're not backpedaling that bad boy.
Cody, that's really...
Christine,
It's hard when you say things like that. It was what it was back
I
then.
understand that, and I'm very glad we're married. I'm glad this has all worked out this way.
What you are hearing is that he's saying if you have a longer courtship, you're going to have a better marriage.
That is what he's saying.
And that's not what he's saying. He's
You're
saying
like, you'll be able to assess the whole family. You'll know everybody better.
He's saying for his kids, he doesn't want them to run their lives by luck. He wants them to make the most logical decisions that they can so that they can have the best possible outcome. That's what he's wanting for his kids. I think this is destiny, and you guys know it. And I don't think he thinks anything different than that any day of the week.
Nope, I don't. Yeah.
The dynamic. Let's discuss. Cody puts his foot in his mouth. Doesn't realize he put his foot in his mouth. Doesn't see wife, I'm believing number 3, be personally attacked by said foot in said mouth. The first wife is like, yeah, I wish I had met you 2 years later than I met you, you know. The third wife, or the second wife, remember the first and the second wife don't get along amazingly. So they're not... They aren't supporting what Cody has to say, and they're not negating what the second Christine, what this wife has to say. So the two older wives are not disagreeing. The youngest wife, Robin, is. I'm noticing a dynamic between Robin and Cody. And she's just judging by the age of their kids, they must not have been married. They must not be married for that long. Because if the youngest daughter is hers, and I'm assuming it is, then what, she's like maybe 5? It's just interesting that like the older wives they're not really supporting her either. They're not really like putting their arms around her and patting her and being like, no, or anything like that. And neither is Robin. Robin is attacking, this is Christine, for feeling the way Christine feels, for being attacked by Cody's stupidity. And the other two wives are not defending Cody, and they're not comforting Christine. That's an interesting dynamic. Like, she's not getting support, and she is being gaslit and also attacked by the youngest wife. So and it's all because she feels like Cody doesn't value her marriage to him as much as she clearly thinks he values others, the marriages from others. I'm gonna stop this one here. I really wasn't expecting this to go this long, but I didn't expect it to be multiple episodes either. I'm gonna stop this one here. This one might end up actually being a little shorter because I feel like there's chunks of this I can cut out, but I feel like this is a good spot to stop at, you know, a cliffhanger. And yeah, hopefully, hell or high water, the next one's going to be, I say this now, hopefully the next one will be the last one, because I can't see them stretching this out for another episode with the Anthropologists. But I am more concerned about the actual Anthropologists than I am about like the family dynamics exactly, even though I have things to say about it. It's not I'm here to look at the Anthropologists. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up here. Go ahead and leave a church. Leave a church or a wedding bells down in the comments section. And let me know what you guys are thinking up to this point. And yeah, comments, questions. I will try to answer questions as much as I can. Keep in mind, I don't know everything. Also, keep in mind that I very strongly tell you guys that I'm an anthropologist by training. So when I'm critiquing the other anthropologists who are PhD students, by the way, this is just my opinion about what I was taught in my undergrad. All right. I went the archaeology route. They're doing the social anthropology route. They're different. So there you go. And yeah, thank you to everybody who supports the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. Thank you to everyone who's gonna hit the thumbs up. Thank you to the 3 of you that hit the thumbs down. And I will see you all in hopefully what is the last one for this. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Bye.